MakingStarWars.net.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today we're going to be talking about Star Wars. So if you don't like Star Wars, you should probably get out of here. I made a little presentation here. I put everything in a slideshow. That's why I'm a few minutes late getting started, but whatever. This is the link right here if you want to become a channel member. It turns out if you just add /join at the end of any YouTube link that's to the channel, you could join that way. So I know it's kind of a pain in the butt. Everybody keeps going like, how do I do it? And then so I figured that out this week finally. And so that's the link if you want to become a channel member. And thank you to everyone who is a channel member and supports the show. Also like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if it's all the same to you, just let the whole video play, because that also helps, get it into the ether or whatever. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about a bunch of various little Star Wars things, some Andor stuff. You want to know what I did though, you guys? I did everything right, but I still did it wrong, because me and old Star Wars Meg, we were talking about this rumor that's going around, and it informs some of what we're going to be talking about today. I didn't put the rumor in the presentation, but I got Meg DMing it to me, so we can talk about that. And me and Meg are, I think, pretty conservative about it. We're like, but I think I'm a little bit more negative. She's a little bit more likely, but we're both very like kind of in the middle about it. So we're gonna get to that stuff in a few minutes. But up front, I was messing around with that Dolly app, and I wanted Cassian Andor to be a Muppet, but this is what it gave me. I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. I kind of like the one in the middle. I probably would hang that on my wall, actually. It's just so weird. Looks very strange, but it wasn't Cassian as a Muppet. He was with a Kermit the Frog Muppet in two of them, but look at how petrified he looks. He looks like he's at stage fright. I like the top left one. It looks like he's like tweaking out, like he's, I'm undercover doing spice, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that happened. I don't know. Just thought I'd share it. And then we had the Cassian action figure stuff hit. And this stuff is a little bit, I'm a bit on the fence about it. I mean, it's cool. If you like action figures and stuff, it's going to be what you've always wanted. But it's going to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. So it's going to mean that you're going to have to, work your booty off to get it, unfortunately. I guess I like it. I mean, it's cool. I mean, right here you could see Cassian in his outfit from the series. And then over here we have the little droid guy. And he's an emo, B2 emo. B2 EMO. So as Baymax stole where I was going to take this, which is B2 EMO obviously listens to Too Much Thursday, Brand New, and Taking Back Sunday. Yeah. And, when he's in a good mood, he'll put on Sunny Day Real Estate. But only when he's in a good mood. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how prominent this droid is in the series. That's like the big question. And I want to throw out there, when evaluating leaks that I'm not vouching for, that I'm not saying like they're not from me or from Meg or from Bespin Bulletin, especially. That's where you got to kind of go like, where was this guy? Why wasn't anyone talking about him? But this guy could be the equivalent of BB9E. Remember how important he was. Remember how much merch they made for that guy and how important he was. Not very important at all in the big picture. I've watched The Last Jedi 100 times, and I started to notice like, oh wow, he's in another shot. so he could be super important. I mean, my mind goes all kinds of random places whenever I think about Cassian and droids, because we don't have K2 in this story. There's K2 droids in the story, but the best buddy who punches you in the face in Rogue One, K2, not in this one, from what we could ascertain. So I kind of kept wondering if we're going to see Cassian with this, like, sort of skills with droids and hacking them or something. Like, is that going to come out in the series or not? It could, it very well could. But yeah, I mean, it's a really basic sci-fi design. Sometimes that's genius. Sometimes like it's going to be like, wow, they own that now. That's one of the weird things about Star Wars using these basic shapes and silhouettes and stuff like that is like, wow, now you own that. Whenever anybody sees a box droid, they think of a Gonk droid or R2D2 or whatever it happens to be. I mean, Metropolis started that android that was C3PO. And now if you ever do a metallic droid, people go right to C3PO. So it's not bad for if you own the IP, if you're Disney. But so anyways, yeah, I'm not necessarily in love with him. Don't necessarily hate him. I'm kind of like, okay, I'm curious to see how it pans out in the story. And here's a better look at the droid. I do like how dingy it looks, even as a product, even as a toy. It's really beat up. The battle damage is pretty good on it and stuff like that. Like, if this was made in the mid 90s, it would have been pristine, totally perfect, and then they would have added like a little bit of like silver paint. Like, look, guys, it got scratched, carbon scoring. So kind of cool, I guess. It's well done. And then so over here I'm gonna start. This is the one of the Cassian Andor sets. This is where they filmed some of the series now, and I just thought it was probably worth mentioning. I'm trying to get into my messages with the old gang here, so I could pull it up. What the rumor du jour is, and I'm not even 100% sure. I think it's a 4chan leak. Remember, there was a 4chan leak a few weeks ago, and it was basically insinuating that there was like this bodyguard story between Tamara Morrison as a clone with Mon Mothma. And I got to be honest with you, that's a little outside the box in certain ways. That makes me think like that's so random. It could be it, but it's also not exactly like to the level of Kenobi and Mando, using Paper Moon. Put that on your Star Wars Santa bingo card right there. All right. But I'm trying to find the message. Okay, here it is. So the first rumor was that there was like not going to be any Vader or something like that, and that makes sense. And then the other thing was that now here's where I get a little bit weird about it. Okay, Nemodians are rumored to be in it with these like Japanese style helmets or something. And so I don't know what to think about that. Would they do that when they've already had the voices being overtly Japanese? And it was not even sort of, it was one of the prominent criticisms of them. It's like, showing Japanese people as being the bad guys in Star Wars, and you're making them kind of into cartoon characters. Would they go and double down on that? You know what I mean? But so it's kind of hard to say, but the big thing that keeps going around now after this last couple of days is Utapau. And this is a set from Andor in the pictures I got here. And could that stand in for Utapau? That's sort of where I go, like, I go back and forth on it, because this is, I mean, it really could look more like a Yavin base, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And makes me think like it's not that, but nonetheless, it's a thing that's like going around. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Does that seem likely? And then right here, I threw in a couple of just Utapau, shots so we could like, you know what I mean, try and put it together if we think it tracks. Because I honestly think that this could look like the place in that we just saw in Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. So I'm like really on the fence. So you guys let me know what you think, you know. But hey, Mr. Maximus, how are you? Um, how's it hanging? It's dangling. And yeah, so right here you got Baymax with your emo recommendations if you need anything. And hey, Jonathan, how are you? And thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. Once again for supporting the show, being a channel member, like Mr. Baymax. I appreciate that a lot, you guys. Cassian's new younger look looks like a scruffy nerf herder. Yeah, I do like how they are making him look a little less dapper, so to speak, in a lot of the stuff. He looks pretty haggard, like he's going through hell. And I think as like a rebel freedom fighter kind of idea, that's like pretty good. You know, I think that's a pretty good place to like take it. Chris, has anyone seen the Kenobi fan edit? I have started it. I didn't finish it. It's like 12 gigs or something like that. And so I don't have enough space on my iPad. I have a smaller iPad. And so I had to put it on my phone and I was like broadcasting it to my TV that way, like airplaying it to my television. And I got an error and they kind of like messed it up. I am number one, I think it's kind of cool to have it all just like that, like all together that close. That's pretty fun. That said, I think they made some original stuff in it, and the original content, I think, is both good. I would say, I don't mean to knock it. I think that they did an excellent job. Like I think the person who did it really put themselves into it. So, but you know, it was a little over directed with like the floaty camera kind of thing. Most people who I know who've seen it has said it's better. Most people think it's better. Is the grass, it might be one of those grass is always greener kind of things though. So yeah. And Cassian's new younger look looks like a scruffy nerf herder. And yeah, I quite like that fan edit. And I think the fan edit does like a pretty amazing job when you hold it up next to other fan edits from the past, right? For instance, remember the Phantom edit? This has come a long way when you compare it to something like that. The one thing that I would say though, the one thing that I think a lot of fans are running with is the idea that the version we got was the one that would have been the movie, that the story and the script essentially was the film, and that's not the case. And it working better as a movie, I don't think necessarily has anything to do with the format change as much as it does have to do with trimming out the fat. One thing I've noticed about Star Wars on television, especially coming out of this with like Mandalorian, is that they've been okay with slowing shit down to your standard TV pace. And Star Wars is not your standard TV pace, even when it's TV. You know, remember the chase in Book of Boba with the guy in the speeder? That shit was laughable in Star Wars, probably fine anywhere else. In Star Wars, too slow. And so that's where they really, I think, stepped on their own toes here, if that makes sense. So, anybody see the new Thor movie? I didn't. But what I find interesting, Mr. Me, Mrs. Me, they, me, is that people are either saying it's really funny or it's awful. And I'm not really a big Marvel person. So when the 45-day mark comes and it shows up on Disney Plus, I'll go see it unless I end up going out to the movies just to get out, you know, or something like that. Then I will see it. But I mean, I haven't seen it, so I'm out of my comfort zone with like, saying too much here. But the one thing I will throw out there is if Taika Waititi made a Taika movie, I don't know what people are expecting, because it does sound to me like the criticisms being levied against it are sort of the same thing that Ragnarok was, the thing that Taika usually does. And that's the thing I think Star Wars fans need to take away from all of this. If Taika Waititi makes a Star Wars movie, it's still going to be a Taika movie. So I think if people are down to go see it or down to follow the production of it, and when it comes out, if it does, which it probably will, but it also might not. But when that day comes, it's still going to be a Taika movie. It's going to be a Star Wars heavy, I don't know, a Star Wars comedy practically. And so if people are going to all of a sudden expect it to be, Return of the King, directed by Taika Waititi, I think they're going to be disappointed. Baymax says the ending was better with Vader Kenobi fight uninterrupted by Reva, who should have been dead at that point. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't got to the very end of it. The one thing that I am curious about with the edit, once I get there, is will it actually will I feel that like the Reva line was executed entirely or properly? So that's kind of where I did hear that they removed a lot of the Inquisitor stuff, which ultimately was probably for the better, I would say, in the big picture. But that's just me. But might be the worst movie to come out in the past 15 years. Oh, I think me and Baymax want you to watch a little movie with us called The Greasy Strangler. I think you need to watch The Greasy Strangler with us. But it's good. Good, bad. Baymax says, I like the Thor movie. Not as good as Ragnarok, but entertaining. Okay. I mean, it's got Natalie Portman with muscles. So if you ever want Natalie Portman to beat the shit out of you, sounds like it could be the movie for you. Hey, Mark, how are you? In my own opinion, the Kenobi fan edit was worse than the show. The pacing was by far worse, and Duel of the Fates doesn't fit in with that battle. Mark, that's been my kind of take on the whole thing, the whole entire time, was that the intensity of the battle, Vader in the suit and stuff like that, it's, I don't know. It's like putting on, Whiplash by Metallica while I work out. That's what I would be afraid of it looking like, So we'll see. I'm going to watch it though. I want to watch it. And like I said, I don't mean any like slight to the person who did the work. I respect their enthusiasm, work ethic, if you will, ability to like, get up off their ass and do something. Like I always respect that, Neil says, I watched the first 30 of the Fen edit, and aside from the Leia Forest scene being chopped, I wasn't into it. All right. Mark says, there were some moments that showed how bad Obi-Wan was that were cut out. Like his boss says, you got something to say? He doesn't do anything. Yeah, well, that's kind of if I'm following you correctly, when his boss says you got something to say and he doesn't do anything, he can't. So that's kind of my take on it. So I'm not sure if I'm understanding you correctly though, but thank you, Mr. Boomer. I appreciate you being a channel member and the super chat. Very appreciated. Not been around for ages. Hope you all are okay, enjoying some free time. Yeah, thanks, man. I really, really do appreciate it. On a side note, I'm going to talk very briefly about that ILM documentary coming to Disney Plus. And I thought of you when I was watching it, because if you ever wanted to hear boomers say the computer, I'm not supposed to give out any spoilers from it. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but if you like hearing boomers say the computer, boy, you're going to want to watch that one, because those boomers say the computer a lot. And thanks again. Here we go. Mark says the leak from Reddit sounds all right. Like I could definitely see all those happening, but I need multiple leakers to confirm it. And once again, I don't debunk. I don't bother with debunking things, because when you end up when you end up with something that a bunch of people want to happen and you're saying it doesn't happen, they turn on you. They get mad at you for telling them the world that they live in. And so on that level right there, kind of sucks, because there are times when I would like to straight up debunk what's going on there. You know what I mean? With that kind of stuff. I'm just checking out right now just to make sure that like, I'm trying to see if I could find the original source of the rumor. Totally lost the thread, so to speak, on that one. Okay. But let me see. I think I may have found it, maybe. Well, wait. Okay, so 2 days ago, there was stuff about like Neil Scanlon's creature team made a dozen Nemodian masks, including Nemodian warriors. Honestly, guys, I started to freak out for a second that Meg was just telling us something she was working on and they fucked it up. I started to go, oh no. But that's why I needed to look it up. Neil Scanlon's creature team made about a dozen Nemodian masks, including Nemodian warriors, Nemodian holdouts, shots with Cassian. The leader is cool and unique looking, kind of like a medieval or feudal Chinese or Japanese style warrior, and he has a sword. So that's part of the rumor here. Okay. Once again, I'm not endorsing the rumor and I'm not shooting it down. I'm not saying it's true or not. We are just doing a daily Star Wars show and we're discussing the rumor du jour. Okay. Palpatine makes a cameo, but it's unique in that it's on Coruscant. And Mon Mothma, while she is being taxied through the city, focuses in a giant propaganda of Palpatine looking like he did before the war, encouraging citizens of Coruscant. It's like the big Blade Runner holograms. So this is this rumor that keeps going around that we're going to see that we're going to see Palpatine in Cassian Andor, and he's going to look young, like before he got disfigured, which I find strange. What? Who? What?
Well, what am I doing here?
Hey, I gotta put my headphones on, Quinn.
How did I get here? Wait
hey, dude.
I think I'm lost. How did I get here?
Yeah, you got sucked into the vortex.
Am I in the right place?
Yeah, you're in the right place. You're supposed to be here. I summoned you as a puppet master.
Yeah, I think so. My soul feels like it's burning right now. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is hell. Welcome.
What's going on? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Yeah. A few weeks back, I hung out with Quentin. We did we had a talk on his show. It was a pretty good time. I had a good time.
It was awesome time.
Yeah, and a couple of the clips have come out. He's released a couple of the clips, and yeah,
I'm turning Jason into a political figure right now by releasing some controversial clips on the
right.
internet.
Yeah, it's me going like, let me tell you where I was January 6th. Like he just like cut it all up and no. But anyways,
he's responsible for a few incidents, some bank robberies and all kinds of stuff. We'll just stay in the same place. There we go. So what are we doing? What are we talking about? What's going on?
So did you hear about the Andor leaks that they might be fake? They might be real. They might be fake. Okay.
Well, how do we know if they're fake or not? We
don't. Okay. I mean, the only thing that we could say, so here's where I lean towards fake. This is just like anybody else. This isn't me having any inside track on any of this stuff. This is just me just going like, well, everything is referential to the past. Everything's a callback. And if you remember when we had all of the fake Book of Boba leaks, Dengar's in it. IG-88 is in it. Everything was something that somebody knew that could be in it.
Right.
Kira is in it. It's all like throwbacks. And nobody's talking about that little emo droid, like in these leaks, for instance. Stuff like if I was going to come out and like throw out Nemodians were in it, and I was trying to like get credibility, though, I would also say, and there's this little emo red droid. His name is Emo, and he likes Taking Back Sunday. I would have said that. Like you would have had something that just completely like verifies it. And I feel like even when this trailer hits, unless it shows us Nemodians, like none of this stuff is going to really be be verified by a trailer even. So it just sits out there in the ether, but it could be real things. You know what I mean? It really could be. I can't say, but basically they say that Neil Scanlon's creature team made about a dozen Nemodian masks, including a Nemodian warriors. But I think we run into an interesting thing here in that there was a lot of cultural insensitivity accusations thrown out at the Nemodians when they had Asian sounding accents that were very over the top. By Revenge of the Sith, they removed the accents. Then it's just like a done by going, oh, magnetized. You know, they just like fully pulled back on it, which, you know, maybe that was a good thing. But anyways, if you're gonna make Nemodians and then make them Japanese style warriors, it does see with the Japanese style helmets and stuff, it does seem like they're leaning back into the Japanese thing with the Nemodians. I don't know. Would Disney be as would they be so? There are.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that there's an issue with that? I mean, it's like
I don't know.
Taking inspiration from something, I don't see it as being insensitive.
Yeah,
I feel like it like gives you I don't know. I feel like it makes somebody feel as represented a little bit, you know, like okay, here's something similar to my culture, but I don't know about the accent thing. Like that's unnecessary. Right. I think that's a bit much, but I don't see anything wrong with a costume looking similar to something culturally, you know?
Sure. Oh no, I don't mean to say the aesthetic designs pulling from Japanese culture. Star Wars pulls from Japanese culture down to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, it's all over.
It's all over it. Yeah.
But when you have characters who sound like World War II white people playing Japanese people in a World War II movie during World War II in the movie, and then you give them the Japanese design, then you kind of start to really play into the trope part. Once again, I don't know. I'm not Japanese, so I'm not gonna be, Jason Ward representative of Asian people in Star Wars. I'm not going to go and take that mantle up. But no, I get it. I do know that they were people at Lucasfilm the whole time that George Lucas was doing what he was doing. They're like, this guy loves fucking accents. Oh my God, can he stop? Like that was really a thing. I've heard it from them firsthand, where they're like, this is going to get us, this is not going to end well if we keep messing with accents in this way. And
part of that is kind of legit, but part of it is kind of like, it isn't. It's like the aliens, right? They're supposed to be different, and tonally speaking, like, I mean, we could ignore the fact that maybe they come from another planet and we just make everybody speak English, but it's kind of like, is it really fun that they speak perfect English all the time?
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's where I usually go with. Just have them be like speaking Huttese and
something
and
like
weird
that,
things and subtitle it, make
that's like the safe space, right? Like give them a completely different language. That way it doesn't, it's not like, hey, I know what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Meg says to check your Discord DMs.
Oh, Meg.
Perhaps you have a surprise coming.
Meg. What okay, what is wait. I'm looking, Meg. Wait.
Hey chat, how's it going?
Oh, Meg is free. Let's bring Megan. Or you're not afraid of Meg, right? Because she'll be pretty scary.
It's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time. All right, let's do it.
I'm not scared of nothing, my man.
Okay.
I'm too old to be scared of stuff.
No. Meg is nice. I'm kidding, obviously.
Meg is wonderful.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to Meg in a while, actually. I haven't spoken to Santa in a while either. He's been on vacation, right?
He is. And then he got the COVID. He's doing good, though. He's doing good.
He got the vids.
He did.
Oh, man.
He did. Yep. Okay.
That's not a good time at all.
No. And I was worried about him, but he's 100% good.
Hey, King Chris. How you doing? Everybody shout outs.
Me and Meg, we were like, I don't know. She was like Peter Parker in our chats this week, and I was J. Jonah Jason, and I was like, and she was like, look at this, and I'm like, I need the picture of Spider-Man. If I can't see Spider-Man, it ain't true, Like that's kind of where I was coming at it from.
Public enemy number one. That Cassian fella's got to go.
Hey Meg.
Hey Meg.
Hello.
How are you?
Kristen. I'm good.
I hope I wasn't putting a bunch of words into your mouth, pissing you off.
Double Megs and bacon. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
double Megs and bacon.
Yeah, it's a special at McDonald's at the moment.
oh, is it? Is that really? Because like
No.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, no.
The disappointment has set in already.
Okay. Yes. So anyway, so we were evaluating.
She's got the two sons in there. Look at that. That's fancy.
That's the double.
Oh,
the binary sunset.
I get it now. The dots are connected.
Right. Okay. So we had the but Meg, you made an excellent point, and I'll let you make it about the accent thing.
Are we talking about the Neimoidians?
Yeah.
Well, they don't really need to speak, I don't think. Going to Quinton's point, Quinton kind of said exactly what George Lucas said, which was, how can it be appropriating a culture if it's a galaxy far, far away? Because at that point, it's the viewer saying they're making a connection between the Neimoidians and, I don't know, Japanese culture.
Right. I can see both sides, but like it really is like that. If you're trying to make an alien species, and I mean, us as humans, we only have us to reference, right? Like we can be as creative as we want to and try to break the mold. And sometimes we are successful at that, but we're always going to find something similar to what we have here on our grounded level, right? And so like somebody somewhere is always going to find that thing that, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that because of X,
Right. Yeah, I when Meg said that, I was like, so I thought about what she said. I was like, that's a really good point. What's that?
No, I was looking at Seth double yoker.
Double yoker.
But it was like I also wondered. This is just almost from like a media perspective kind of thing. If they do this, if this does come to fruition, and then they don't have them speak, does that then allow the disingenuous Twitter crowd, for instance, to hit it hard and say, well, yeah, of course they have Japanese and Neimoidian accents, and then to still levy the accusation. So I almost think if they do it, they should have them speak and just have them being like magnetize, and then there you go, it's fixed.
This could be naive of me, but I don't think people care that much about what Neimoidians sound like if the series is good.
I don't think they do either. And honestly, if it's that much of an issue, give them some sort of language that's based on sign language.
Whoa, that would be different.
That's
right?
Clones, the clones. Remember when the clones in the old original Clone Wars were doing all
I'm just saying, like, if you really want to break away, I mean, that's one way to. It's either you give them a made language, right? Like take Elfish, for example, right? There's a lot of detail in Elfish. It's like an actual language. They could have someone make them a language if you want.
Quentin,
have the actors. What's up?
Do you speak Elvish?
I do not. I wish I did, though.
I don't believe him. I don't believe him, you guys.
I wish I did. I do not, though. I would love to speak Elvish. I would actually get a tattoo if I spoke it, because I don't want to get something I can't read.
There's a hint of bullshit in the air.
Man, it is kind of smelly in my office now. Well,
yeah, you get the tattoo and you read it and it says "sweet cheeks" or something.
Yeah, something like that, or like I'll get it and it says "Gangsta Boo." That would be hilarious.
And Elvis, that's actually kind of badass if you had that in Elvis. But all right. So the other bullet point was Vader's not in the show. So which okay,
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Sure.
At that time, it's a prequel to the prequel, so
yeah,
Vader is kind of probably getting built, maybe, right? Or maybe going through healing. He's already got the suit on. We saw him get the suit put on. Maybe he's just getting used to it.
Vader's like interesting in the Cassian concept because you really can't have Cassian necessarily going up against Darth Vader. Like,
what is he gonna do?
Yeah, like when Lando and Han are up against him, it's not really, Yeah, he pulls the gun away and he says, "Sit down and eat." Yeah, I mean, essentially. So there's
he dads him pretty quickly. He dads him pretty quickly. Yeah,
and then
you can't put him in shows like this.
No,
I don't think you can. That's why they have that issue with they always have to force a Jedi into a show if they want to put Vader in there.
Right. Yeah. And then Meg, you had a rumor about a Jedi though, right?
Oh, did you?
Not a Jedi.
Oh, okay.
A Force user.
A Force sensitive.
Force user. Okay.
Okay.
Got
Force
it.
sensitive. There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, she
but
was,
even so, they're not going to be strong enough to stand up against Vader. That's for sure.
No.
Or
well, actually,
maybe.
in the comics, this person did.
Oh, did they?
At this exact point, yeah. I think Jason's talking about the thing which I haven't actually specified yet.
You talked about it on this show.
I did.
You did, yeah. Yeah, you did. I'm not outing.
You're right, I did.
You did. So that's why I was bringing it back up to make
my
sure
memory's terrible.
You got the you were getting the credit for your.
I don't think it's as bad as my memory.
Well, I don't know if you heard, Meg, but like I started to talk about what we were talking about like last night.
Yeah.
And then I started to go like all of a sudden have an anxiety attack of like, wait, was this Meg's info and it's not actually out there? Because I didn't go read it firsthand. I just read it through you and I was like, oh shit, I better look this up or Meg's gonna want to kill me right now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. Better ask first. Yeah, yeah. So Palpatine makes a cameo, but it's unique in that it's on Coruscant, and Mon Mothma, while she is being taxied through the city, focuses in a giant propaganda of Palpatine looking like he did before the war, encouraging citizens of Coruscant. It's like the big Blade Runner hologram. So it's like a big ass thing of Palpatine going, do it. But he looks young.
But he looks like himself before the lightning.
Senator Palpatine.
You kind of see in Rebels he did that as well.
Yeah, he
just
did
like
do that.
Old versions of him on Empire Day. And then again when he tries to lure Ezra to open the world between worlds.
I think that was to his bike shop. If you ever watched Different
shop.
Strokes. Yeah, if you watch Different Strokes, you know what that means. Sorry.
This comment Thor 4 is like Ragnarok Park 2. Oh yeah, that's in that's in Andor.
Okay. There are Mandalorians in the show, but they're not from a clan we've seen. They have bone style armor. Don't know more than that. Neil's team made this.
Have we seen?
So this is the one thing that I'm really skeptical about. I think this was the one point where I was like, nah, this is too convenient.
Yeah.
I think they may be confusing it with Enfy's Nest.
With what there?
Enfy's Nest from Solo Star Wars Story.
Ah, I see. I've never seen a Mandalorian wear like that type of armor, even if they're not in a known clan. It could.
For what it's worth, I heard that there's mythosaur armors coming, and I imagine that's going to be very bone-like. And so I started when I just looked at that right now, I wondered like, is there any chance that Neil Scanlon's team made the mythosaur armor to be sent over to the States from Pinewood? Because that does happen sometimes. But
that's interesting.
But that's me making shit work, I mean, that's me probably going beyond Occam's razor of this. So I know for a fact Tamara did 1-ish month of shooting in England. But what clone or clones, I don't know. The clones in Cassian's childhood flashback are just stunt people. And the clones being that thing, that's already been in the trailer. We've already seen the clone armor in the first trailer. We saw
that could be a lucky guess.
That's gonna be dope to see that again. I like seeing that armor on the big screen. Well, the mid-sized screen, I should say.
Yeah, right. I mean, depending on how big your TV is.
That's a good point.
And then the other thing about it that I'm not saying because I'm saying I know everything, whatever, but Tamara being there for a month and them keeping it that quiet is pretty freaking good if they pulled that off.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's coming out. So how quiet is it if it's coming out now? But back then, that's where I'm a little bit like, well, I guess lockdowns were happening though. So maybe it was
he did come over though. He came over twice between Kenobi and Book of Boba and Kenobi. Yeah. And I know he was here for like 2 days to do a signing because I got one of my posters signed.
Yeah.
I think if Marvel
I don't know if he stayed for a month.
Yeah. Okay. I think if Marvel can keep Toby and Andrew secret, right? It kind of sort of, right? I mean, there was rumors.
They didn't though. Yeah, it was all over.
They did. I mean, they didn't, but they did, right? Like I
don't follow it, and I knew about it.
Same.
I mean, I heard about it. I heard the rumors, but there was nothing that proved that they were there. There weren't any photos.
Sure. There were pictures that people thought were photoshopped, but they weren't.
Oh. Okay.
Well, we would have seen something then.
But to weigh in on that thing, Tobey Maguire versus Tamara Morrison. Tamara Morrison could probably go down to Costco and get a hot dog some days.
Yeah.
Some days.
Some days, right. I would recognize him, but not everyone would.
Yeah.
All
right. So I like this one. Clones killed Cassian's father and mother. He holds clones in the same anger as how Din held droids.
So we knew about this since Rogue One came out because the visual guide says Andor's parents were separatist sympathizers. And young Andor would throw bottles and rocks at the clone Republic walkers, at the clones. So it's kind of consistent. Again, it could be a lucky guess.
Yeah. It is consistent. The big like headline or whatever you will of the day when that stuff came out was Cassian's a separatist back then.
Interesting.
Yeah. So and that's one of the interesting things about this rumor. If we want to play into it as being real, the Utapauans. What?
Looking at chat. Don't read what Baymax said, but you can just look at it.
Gosh.
Campia, look at Tim's dick. Look at it. Let's look at it. Yeah. No, but like the Utapauans are clearly against the Trade Federation and Revenge of the Sith. So would that put them as Imperials post Revenge of the Sith? Is that like, I wonder, like, you never know how the cards will, whatever, the chips are going to fall, whatever, but like it does seem to kind of imply that they would have become.
I feel like they don't do enough with all these different groups that we learn about. We always end up back with the Empire or focused on some planet where you just see a bunch of Imperial officers or soldiers, right? And that's like the antagonist. There are all these crazy groups that could be killing each other and having like this massive shootout, Star Wars Western style or whatever in the desert. And you just missed the boat on that.
Yeah.
Can I put forward an idea about this?
Yeah.
In Jedi Survivor, we see a Pauan, and a lot of people assume it's the Grand Inquisitor. A lot of people have been saying it's Tion Meaden. And if he is in this show, it proves he was a complete Imperial loyalist after the end of the Clone Wars, which is consistent with Legends. And it also means he went a step further to work for Palpatine. So if Cassian Andor arrives on Utapau for that one mission in the sinkhole, if Tion Meaden is interacting with him enough to know that this is a rebel, that could cause him, as an Imperial senator, if that's what he became, to kind of blow the whistle on rebel activity on his planets.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it was probably a bunch of snitches.
A lot of them.
When I take the world of this rumor as being accurate, I also wonder if Bruce Spence would be back to play Tion Meaden or Meaden. I don't know how you say it. Meaden.
Isn't 80 something?
Yeah, we'll call him Tion. Let's go with that. But he goes. But I wonder if Bruce Spence would play him again. But Bruce Spence is about 78 years old.
Ooh.
So I'm not sure. He could be super healthy, but he's a big dude too. He's a big, tall guy. It seems like classically very big people do not end up being super strong older in life because it does hell on your bones.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like Andre the Giant, he died from a condition that for those who know who Andre the Giant is, but he had this weird condition where he was just so big, his heart couldn't take it. And
isn't that the same with Peter Mayhew?
By the way, Peter Mayhew was in a lot of pain. Like he had a lot of pain because of being so big. Yeah. So I kind of wonder how they will do it, but also once again, if this is true and they put the Grand Inquisitor in Kenobi looking like a deflated ball sack, and then they bring in Tion Meaden, who's like the same like thing. And then the very next show, what are they thinking? Like, you know what I mean? It's a weird one. Yeah. It's definitely because if you don't go back to it, like I actually don't really mind how the Grand Inquisitor looks if he was just this one thing. If I never saw him in anything else, he wasn't supposed to be anything else, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, he's like a Hellraiser looking little Sithy kind of weirdo. Get it? Yeah. Fine, it's fun.
Yeah.
But when he's supposed to be what Bruce Spence was in Revenge of the Sith, and then you bring, so it's like, but I'm also wondering if fans are going to go, they listen to us. Look at how right it looks now. But it's
it's confirmed that they're the same type of species.
It is, yeah,
it is,
The Grand Inquisitor from Rebels is the same. Is Utapauan or whatever. What are they called?
Powans.
Powans.
I wonder why they changed the design. Because if they already had something established, it's they can't really
convenience,
say
probably.
Yeah, maybe. It's not like they would evolve that fast to look that different, unless
Yeah.
unless they're like a genetically altered species where they just keep messing with themselves. That could be something.
Maybe he goes to
I
the
quite
spa
like that idea.
on
It's
Coruscant.
kind of like Twi'leks have different colors.
That could be an explainer for that. But who knows if they're smart enough to use that to get out of the hole that they're digging.
Maybe after Reva stabs him in the stomach, he can't eat as much, loses some weight, and that head gets really elongated and thinner.
Could be he went to a droid sector and then he had something shaved down because he just didn't like how wide it was at the top.
Hello,
it's like a haircut.
Want my skull reshaped? It's kind of like how he's
listen. If the Kardashians can get their chin shaved,
make me a Chad. That's what he said.
At least genetically, we know at least one of his parents was a dickhead.
Right. Oh,
but
yeah. All right. So Utapau is in an episode. Cassian has to travel to an abandoned sinkhole to pick up a drop. Tian Madan returns briefly, played by Bruce Spence. So they actually throw out Bruce Spence. I haven't seen the final scene, but I know there's an aquatic dragon-like creature living in the sinkhole, which is why it was abandoned. Cassian faces it. And you had a theory about what that was, right, Meg?
How are you gonna face it?
Yeah, it could be a Varactyl, like Boga, the one that Obi-Wan rode in episode 3. But if it's an aquatic monster, it could be a Nos monster.
Is he rolling by himself? Do we know who are his sidekicks in this show? Do we know this?
He's got that new droid, B2 Emo.
How's that enough to face some kind of water creature from the Blue Lagoon that might, be like 50 times the size?
No.
I don't know if I buy this one.
It's not gonna. It's not gonna help him. But
I mean, Cassian would have more like human, people to fight, like regular sized people.
I mean,
I can't pick a better word for it. But
this guy's gonna maybe vacuum your house for you.
That's the dude I'm gonna throw in my swimming pool to clean the algae at the bottom of it.
Exactly.
That ain't good. He's gonna clean the shit from the sea monster, but that's it.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you know SpongeBob? Do you remember that episode where Mr. Krabs, or rather Plankton, built a Mr. Krabs robot? Kind of reminds me of that.
Oh my god! I don't know it, but I like it. I like where your head's at. Utapau. So Utapau in the episode. So it would mean this does seem to imply it's not the sinkhole from Revenge of the Sith, right? Just that it goes to a sinkhole. And there used to be a scene in Revenge of the Sith that Meg alluded to just now, where when Obi-Wan was to fall into the water, when Order 66 happens and he Cody turns on him and he has to fall down the sinkhole with Boga. He was going to fall into the hole, go into the water, and then he's going to have to fight a monster called a Nos monster, which was a really bad idea to do it at that moment. Like Order 66 is happening, and now we're doing a monster fight. Nah, it doesn't make sense. So they ended up cutting it. But then we saw that monster show up in Star Wars: The Clone Wars in Bombad Jedi, which is one of my favorite episodes. It's silly, but it's really good. And so they could definitely bring back the Nos monster concept that like Meg is saying.
I like the idea of it just this being a very grounded show where it's like Rogue One, you had some kind of force sensitivity, right? But it like Vader was, the tip of that.
Yeah.
Right. But outside of that last 10 minutes, if that 8 minutes, outside of that, it was most like regular people, with religion,
with faith. It was like, I have a kyber crystal around my neck and I got this thing called hope.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why that particular movie, for me, of all the content that's come out, it's still my favorite thing of the new stuff, live action wise. Outside of Mando, right? I can't take anything from Mando. Mando's great, but Rogue One as a movie, it's just hard for me to find something that I don't like about it.
Yeah,
and it's very grounded with what I feel like is reality. In terms of, hey, this guy, he don't have no superpowers. He's just like a friggin' cowboy trying to do something. That's it. I don't know if any of this makes sense for Andor. You know what you're saying. There's got to be some special characters we don't know about or something. If all of that is in it, you know.
Yeah, it's like in the show, there will come moments where they have to go, "Oh yeah, this is Star Wars," and then that might be where they're like, "Then Cassian fights the Nos monster." Like for instance,
when you see ships floating around though, that says Star Wars. You see Imperial vessels everywhere. That says Star Wars. You go to the middle of some weird planet and there's a cantina with all kinds of robots and you know weird stuff going on. Like that all says Star Wars to me. So like I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it might be more like a Dianoga style sequence rather than let's say a Luke versus the Rancor kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it might. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might just be Andor having to shoot the right place, like the right spot.
That's true.
And some rocks fall on it, and it is like,
yeah, a laser
and then he throws his
between
pistol
the eyes.
and says, "So uncivilized."
yeah.
Or maybe he just throws a ship at it.
Well, that's where like Cassian's like a hard read, especially when you looked at like what Gilroy was saying, like not to like hang on one quote as being the guiding principle of the whole show, but he like says like my wife, basically he infers his wife doesn't give a shit about this stuff, but he wants to make her give a shit about this stuff by the show being good and intriguing onto itself. And so that's where I start to kind of go like, yeah, that doesn't sound to me like the kind of show where you'd have Andor fighting a monster, but it is like 12 episodes, so there's definitely the real estate to do that kind of stuff over time.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they regulate that between. It's hard for them to do a normal story without putting something very mythical in it. You know, they just can't resist.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and there very well may be Jedi, and I mean, you got 12 episodes, you have multiple writers, and unless Gilroy as the showrunner was like, you cannot use the Jedi, I refuse to let you do it. You just feel like one of them is going to get an itchy finger and start typing. Then the Jedi walks into the frame.
It's just that you get all these planets. There's got to be something else that someone has. It's the Force, but maybe they don't call it, the Force. Maybe they got like a different understanding of it or something like that.
I think we've got to keep an open mind.
Yeah. We don't know.
I think Tony Gilroy wants to do some really special things with this show.
Yeah, I hope so.
Am I seeming like a negative Nancy?
No, I don't think
Not
so.
at all. The opposite.
Yeah.
Jason, I think you should read Matt Risman's comments.
Matt Risman. Do we think it's possible? Is it possible, you guys, that Kumail will be playing the droid B2 EMO in Andor? You know what, Matt? We can't rule it out. We can't rule it out, Matt.
I like these photos.
Yeah, this is I think. Sorry, I was in full working on the Kenobi stuff when this stuff was getting sent my way, and I was just like, oh, cool. Any details? No, okay. so it kind of just sat on my, in my archive, if you will. But yeah, this is like right before they did the setup, and it did sound like the setup had more of a base vibe to it, like secret base vibe was what I heard. So I the whole time was working on this is going to be sort of like a Yavin 4 looking base in the end. I didn't see the finish. I didn't see it finished though. So this could very well be that sinkhole place from Utapau.
It's a question. Have we heard anything about whether or not Saul Guerrera is going to be in this?
I was literally just about to say this looks like where Saul Guerrera could be hiding out with his clan.
Yeah, because like this seems very like guerrilla warfare-esque, I should say.
It's a good location. Like either way, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah.
It's like a really, really good whoever was the location scout on this and decided to use the stuff did a really good job because I mean,
Will the show go into Wade's backstory in season 1?
Poor Wade. Is Wade's dead by then, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I think
he died 5 years before this show.
Yeah. But if you want to know what Cassian's driving motivation is, it's probably avenging Wade. But and then this is from Revenge of the Sith, obviously. And so like, it's that generic rock wall Star Wars thing. I don't mean that in a bad way. It could literally be anywhere. So, I could see this being
it's a nice piece, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It was very impressive.
Did you guys happen to read Shadow of the Sith by any chance?
I did not.
I haven't finished it, but I've started it.
I'm about 2/3 of the way through it right now.
What do you think?
And so do you care about spoilers from it, Quentin?
Nope.
Okay.
Man, I go through spoiler chats before movies come out.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah. I figured as much, just trying to be, but
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I want to just kind of briefly talk about or whatever the conversation goes on this one. But yeah, I mean, it's a super interesting book so far. Like I said, I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. The end, it's starting to get a little sleepy. It's starting to run out of mojo on the back end. I don't know if it picks up on the very last 20% or something, but it does feel like it's in that league of books that's like Bloodline and Catalyst, where if you only read 5 or 6 Star Wars books in a decade, this might be one of the ones that you may want to read. If you just read the big ones, this seems like it's a big one.
Is this meant to connect the dots between
Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. It's like one component of the story is that Lando's daughter was kidnapped. He's trying to find her. He's out there sort of in the wilderness of the galaxy, looking for leads, hanging out in bars, having a good time playing cards, but hoping to find out what happened to his daughter.
And this would be the young lady that we saw in Rise of Skywalker?
It was supposed to be.
Okay.
It was supposed to be Janna originally.
Okay.
I still would keep the door. I don't know if the ages line up perfectly, but I think she's 2 years old when she's kidnapped. And I think it's been around 6 years. So I think the ages still kind of add up potentially. So there's always a chance that Janna was Lando's daughter, gets kidnapped, doesn't remember who she was, and then takes on the name Janna when she just needs to name herself like Finn. That's still, I think, possible. But I also could be misreading the book. Somebody might be like, no, here's why you're wrong. But best of my knowledge, it seems possible. And so like the stuff with Lando is good though. Like it has like character building moments in it where like Lando talks about how he doesn't like look towards the past. He doesn't want to think about the past. He wants to live in the future. He wants to deal with things in his mind that he could change, not things that, but his daughter being kidnapped is what is making him look towards the past constantly now. And then it has like really interesting moments with like Luke Skywalker and the ghost of Anakin, which was out in the snippet, the excerpt that they put out. And so you have stuff with like, you have a lot of good scenes with Lando and Luke, I think, together, and like how they are dealing with that time frame and what Lando thinks, like how do these people conceptualize family, looking at Luke's past and stuff. And like he feels like a weird guilt of asking Luke to come and help him with his family, even though they have all helped him. They have all tried to help him find his daughter over the years and been involved and stuff.
I'm curious as to what they're trying to do with this whole daughter thing. Do you think it's necessary?
I think they ended up having themselves written into a weird corner when they wrote the novelization, and so much of it hinged on Lando's daughter, and then they had to do a revision when everything changed, and then now Lando was going to have a lost daughter, and in doing so, I think they had to go that way. But that said, I do think it is a good idea or a good concept, because now Lando has a turmoil in his life, in his character, that gives him some sort of driving force in stories during this era. If Lando has a daughter and she's just like, I grew up with the most wonderful father. He was Lando Calrissian. He was great, and nothing's wrong. Not a very interesting character. It's the lost child story in Star Wars is.
What I think I mean is more so what I'm asking is like, do we need that? Do we need that character? What is? I wonder what that character's purpose is ultimately going to be in the future. Because if they find her, And she's still alive. Like, I want to know what the end game would be for her.
Right.
Or if it's just a vehicle for him to go out and look, and then, oh hey, she's not there anymore, and like heartbreak. And then what does that do to Lando? You know?
Could she be in Skeleton Crew? Would she be the right age?
I don't know.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. That could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything saying that, but that would be interesting, you know. But yeah, I mean, if you do a Lando spinoff, family member, child, or whatever, it would. I think it could. This could set up something interesting. Like, for instance, if Skeleton Crew ended up being about Lando's long lost daughter, not necessarily about them getting back together until maybe the end of the show or something, but you know, there's potential, I think, in that. But it wasn't good for the Rise of Skywalker. No, Rise of Skywalker suffered. I have nothing against Jannah as a character or the actor who they got to be the part, but they introduced this character to be Lando's daughter, and then they didn't do anything with Rose, an established character, and like that real estate was just spread all around, and I don't think anybody was ultimately satisfied by doing so. So, but anyways, to go back to the book,
I wonder if her and Finn went off and had some children.
I hope so, for his sake, because you know, I mean, maybe they became like space Mormons, and he married Rose and Jannah. You know, you never know.
I thought it was implied that him and Rose were like, it looked like they fell out because they didn't really have much of a connection in that last movie. You know?
Yeah. No, they completely erased it. You know.
Yeah, they were all over each other in episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then she probably, I don't know, broke his dick or something.
Yeah, maybe. I hate when that happens.
She's all Ray, can I talk to you? It's just that FN 2187 doesn't know how to fuck. What do I say? How do I deal with this?
Call him a Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah. She's well, anyway. Yeah, she's all, let's trick him into thinking he has the Force so that way he can't be with anybody. Good idea. Man. So Ray's just like using the Force for him. Thinks he's doing
poor John Boyega, man. Hey, I gotta pop away for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Cool, man. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Meg. What are you liking the book, and like what anything working for you or not working for you so far?
I'm quite enjoying it. I'm not too far in.
Okay.
But I'm very much enjoying the journey.
Okay.
Learning more about Dathan, Miramir.
Yeah.
Kind of Ochi's pursuit of them.
Do we love that Ochi is a fucking moron, or do we hate it? I'm like, so on the part of me is like Bespin Bulletin like memes him and thinks he's hilariously stupid, and I think loves him. And there's like moments where I'm like, this guy's so fucking dumb. I kind of love it. On the other hand, it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like the guy's like ship has like a Sith medallion on it, like the BMW thing. And
I see your point. I think it's they're trying to be consistent with the sequels.
Oh shit! Deep cut, dig.
Just not, you know, they can't have a character that's too good, too powerful.
I mean, the whole story is literally driven by the fact that Ochi gets drunk and says too much. He goes to a bar and can't shut his mouth, and that's like the catalyst of the story. And a part of me loves it, and a part of me is like, this is infuriating and stupid in some ways. I don't know. I don't. When the story's done, I think I'll know how I feel about it. But right now, like I'm kind of conflicted on him. You know,
I mean, we know how he dies,
and
that's quite tragic in a funny way.
Yeah.
He falls into a trap.
He just dies in there. Like the snake didn't even eat him or anything. Like, I don't know. I thought they were gonna have like some kind of explanation, like, you know, the snake ate him, and then it just like, you know, barfed him up like owl pellets or something. You know what I mean? I thought they were just gonna come up with some reason, but they're like, no, he just died in there. He's dumb. So, you know, but it's like, yeah, like Lando just kind of like overhears this guy, you know, bragging, and that's what, you know, starts the whole thing. A part of me, and I think like you could critique it as being too coincidental. Lando happens to be in the bar where Ochi is blabbing his mouth about having worked for Sith Lords in the past and stuff like that. But you know, at the same time, when I think it works for me because Lando's there, Lando's in that place trying to get leads on his daughter and he's listening for that stuff, and then hears about this family with this little girl that happens to be Rey, and which is what Dathan and Mir is the names I think of the parents. Yeah. And every time I hear it in the audiobook, I just hear Mir on the wall every time. I can't help myself. It's kind of annoying. But
I wonder why they pronounce it Dathan. I thought it was meant to be Dathan.
Yeah, I think in the audiobook they were saying Dathan. And
I know,
and I keep thinking of Nathan's hot dogs. Dathan's hot dogs. Never mind. It's stupid. But it's that's what comes into my brain. Yeah. They're written pretty consistently, I think, though.
I agree. They've made the characters way more interesting than I thought they would be.
Yeah. Because it's, you know, let me ask you this, because I just may be stupid. He has like a Sith amulet, right? And when it's talking about how it makes him invisible, do we got some Harry Potter shit going on, or is everybody just like he has it on so he is don't fuck with him, leave him alone, and just let him be? Is he socially invisible or invisible like he has a fucking invisibility cloak on?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay, because like as I was listening to that part of the audiobook, I rewound it one time and I'm like, I don't know how to take this. But it's interesting that you have him as a boy, Dathan as a boy living on Exegol, and he's just kind of like people are leaving food out for him like he's a dog or something, and he's just like you know, existing. And it's interesting. A part of me is like really I don't know, as I'm listening to this book, I keep having this idea that Lucasfilm, I wish they would go and make little shorts of things from their books that are canon, like that moment with Luke and Anakin. Like, you don't even need the whole story. It would just be really rad to see Luke astral projecting the Exegol, fighting, you know, from that rock, and then fighting these wraiths, and then Anakin Skywalker shows up and saves them. And just like that moment visually, like being able to see it in live action would be so fun. Like, I wish they would do like selected scenes from their books or something, you know, as shorts or something like that. Like, it would just be a nice like you know how Biomes, which obviously was not too expensive, I don't think, but something like Biomes where you're just like, what the fuck is this? But it's interesting. Like, I think something like that would be a fun way to go. Oh, Quentin's back.
Hey. Sorry.
Welcome back.
Trying to bake some sourdough bread. I think I messed it up though.
I've never baked bread. How do you mess it up? What'd you do?
You either put too much water in the mix, and so then it's like it's too wet to manage, and so it starts to get like really flat.
Too wet to manage. Can relate.
Too wet to manage.
Pause.
That I believe that was the rough draft of Meg's autobiography.
My God.
Sorry, Meg. Meg's like, fuck you, man.
Oh my God.
You still have that Ray clip, Jason.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? I think we can do it. I think we can do it.
Who cares?
I think this is the right direction for the stream.
Wow. Was that Mando season 3 we were watching there? Or season 4?
Netflix is The Mandalorian. They just didn't know what they were doing. But,
Light and Magic, which is an industrial light and magic documentary.
Yeah. So this is coming on Disney Plus in like a week or two at the end of the month. And Disney sent out some images for press to like use in their coverage of it.
That's so fucking cool.
I've actually watched it. I've actually seen all 6 parts of it, and I'm not allowed to like talk about that or whatever until the embargo is lifted, which is I think a week from today. But and so obviously I can't say if it's good or if it's bad, but the fact that I watched it and I'm still talking about it right now and not just disregarding it as trash probably says a lot. But
I mean, there's a lot of things in that, just that cover that stand out that I mean, I don't care like how dumb people's dialogue would be. I would just want to see that. Look at that, the Falcon image. It's crazy.
Yeah,
that blows my mind.
It gets, it does it's a really good job of just getting into like ILM and the people involved, and without saying any, story elements of it, story, history, whatever, but the story elements, like, man, the one thing I'll say is Phil Tippett's story in this documentary is really good. It's really, really interesting. Like Phil Tippett.
Yeah. Well, I think you played the trailer once when I was in here in the chat, and what I picked up from that trailer is that it's just really cool to see all those people coming together and trying to figure out what special effects are at that time period.
Yeah.
For somebody like me who, like, I've worked in visual effects and motion graphics industry since 2004 ish, like that's history for me. Like that's history beyond history for me. It's like it goes beyond Star Wars. So for people like me, even if we weren't Star Wars fans, just to see what Industrial Light and Magic did back then and figure that stuff out, it would just,
right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, it's pretty cool because there's just like, all of the ILM rock stars. If you were a Star Wars kid at any point in your life, it was like, how does this done? There's like people who you've seen over the years, and
I've always wondered how big the actual model was, that they used to shoot that, and that's like it's cool to see that. It's pretty damn big.
Yeah, it actually gets into a little bit about how they had a problem where they had to make the Falcon. They made the model, but then what happens when you need an angle and that size doesn't work for the angles set up in the camera for how far back you can go with the camera and stuff. And so some of the stuff that they did for some of the shots that ended up in there, you'll be like, are you serious? Like it's primitive to say the least, but it's
only one,
but it worked, Yeah. Obi-Wan. But but I mean, I will say, I think if you are interested in the making of the Star Wars stuff in any way, it's really good. It's really gonna, it does a good job of in a high quality encapsulating everything that you or thought you knew about that stuff. And I can't review it.
Between ILM and Stanley Kubrick, it's like those two. So ILM did like so many things that just rocked my world as a kid, right? Just it's like, oh, that's so fucking cool, right? But then Kubrick is 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? That movie in and of itself too. Those are, I would say, two figures in history that really, I guess, pulled me to where I'm at.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
They actually talk about that in there.
Yeah. Oh, really?
They actually talk about it. Yeah, about what the difference was in George Lucas's goals.
Yeah.
And this isn't a spoiler, but the one thing I will say is George, oh boy, does he remember being nice to Battlestar Galactica? Because the truth about George and Battlestar Galactica is not exactly what this presents, to be honest with you guys. But
we're talking about the original with the
because
like
both,
and
this is all
original was so crappy.
This is all like real history, but they get into it. But like John Dykstra invents or helps them develop, Lucasfilm develop the motion control capture camera for filming all of the stuff. That's like the main idea. But then he finishes, the thing is like, well, look at what I invented. Aren't I a little inventor? And then Lucasfilm is like, no, we paid you to make that for us. We own that. You don't.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, going off to make Battlestar. See you later. And so
and then the NDA contract was created. No.
Yeah. I mean, this is like really, really, before they had the mindset.
Here's this handshake deal. I trust you very much. You're not gonna walk away with the technology we developed together.
Yeah.
Put her there. That's what a lot of the contracts were back then.
And I'm not spoiling the show because this is actually in J.W. Rinsler's The Making of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were never cool. They never got cool again, as far as working together goes.
A blue looking guy.
Oh, it's Arya trying to say, was Thrawn there? Yes,
Oh,
Arya.
I see.
Thrawn is there.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he scissors with Cassian in one episode.
Ooh.
Yeah. People don't know that Cassian Andor and Chiss, he likes to scissor with Chisses. Yeah, he calls
I thought he was just taking the chess.
Yeah.
Oh, Meg's timing is so good.
Yeah.
Meg, do you sit at home and like look in the mirror and like throw yourself a quip and then reply to it that quickly, or
do you practice?
Or is it just natural?
I feel called out.
I'm just trying to understand where it comes from, and it's so good. Your timing is great.
I was actually originally I wanted to be a stand-up comic.
Okay, you would have been a hit.
Did you ever try? Did you ever do any stand-up?
I did quite a lot in London.
Yeah. And did you decide you decided it wasn't for you?
No, I just completely went different path with my life, I guess.
That happens. Yeah. I've done a bunch of stuff in my life that I just like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. And then 3 years later, it's no longer in my life anymore, but I've invested so much into it. So you just end up with skills that transfer to somewhere else, like the Star Wars Meg show.
Yeah. I mean, being funny is never going to hurt you. No. Mostly.
It's great for conversation everywhere you go.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely terrifying to me. Like doing stand-up. Yeah. I could do music. I could do this dorky Star Wars show. I could do academic conferences, but stand-up, I never would fucking do it. I would rather die. I would be so scared.
You get really used to having, I guess I would call it exposed skin. You know, you got to really be okay with like people thinking that you suck at something in front of your face. You know, it does a lot for you. I think. You know, I respect it.
Meg's timing is legendary, says Obi-Wan.
You're another dad joke, but you said stand-up's not your thing. Maybe you should try sit down.
Meg is an honorary dad.
That was more funny than it should have been.
Yeah.
He would have a Prince Albert. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I can't remember exactly what that is, but I know it's connotation.
It's a dick piercing. It's a dick piercing.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like it would be in the way to me. I don't get it, but hey, people like it. Have fun.
That's not my headcanon.
Oh, I see where you're on.
Thrawn having a dick ring.
When you said headcanon, I thought of the Nemodian helmet design. Baymax says Ochi's loose lips sinks the Sith internal 10,000 strong fleet of amazingly hidden staff and manufactured Star Destroyers, each with Death Star capability ships.
That comment needs to go in the book of tongue twisters.
Yeah.
Before you address it.
Baymax is pretty good though. Pretty good at summing up that kind of stuff. Another thing from this is the movie in an infuriating display of really stupid logic insinuates that the Star Destroyers were made by magic.
Well, I mean, that's not really something far from lore, though, right? Because like the Sith were always known for imbuing like witchcraft and things like that into what the stuff that they did.
Yeah, but when you have a fleet summoned by magic, then now it's like in Star Wars though, you just run up against. Why do you
wait? You mean completely? Like there was
next time you watch episode 9.
Yeah.
Pay attention to where the fleet comes from.
It comes from under the ground, right?
And what the implication is. And but the book thankfully elaborates and takes that away from it.
I didn't once think that they made these 100% with magic when I saw that scene. I didn't.
It's in the Vader comics too. Palpatine shows Vader his kind of secret inventory on Exegol.
Yeah, I just thought that they were underground, and when they were ready to come up, they were just like, "Fuck it, let's just destroy the ground." Our ships are massive.
When they were making episode 9, I had very, very reliable sources who were like, "Oh, now he made the fleet back in the day. oh, now it's being summoned by magic. And I'm like, so is there a big scene where he uses magic and like makes it? They're like, nah, it just comes out of the. JJ just had the idea that it just burst out of the ice and thought it was pretty metal, and then they were just going to make the story around that.
Yeah,
and
that whole time in my mind, I was thinking that they just didn't care to use like some large storm door opening, right? To take forever to open a large thing to get. Like I just thought, oh, let's just fuck the planet. Let's just, you know.
Oh yeah, no, the visual is metal. Like I'm down with the visual of it. It's just like you run into these weird design things with where JJ's head was, where like you have episode 4 Star Destroyers. Then the Sith troopers are first order in design. Like things just don't really like.
I wonder if that's actually like if there was some validity to that it was supposed to be magic at one point. Maybe it was just him throwing out an idea and somebody took it for gospel.
The final edit of the movie was just the explanation that the movie gives you is it's through magic. I drawing a blank on the actual line right now.
You didn't like Ronald McDonald as a kid,
and so I don't believe in magic, but I hope you do. No, but at the end of the day, the good thing about it was I want to say it was the guy from Lost, the guy who played Charlie from Lost.
Oh yeah.
I think it might have been one of his lines that inferred Matt. I think it was him.
He was also a hobbit.
Also a hobbit, always be Charlie from Lost for me. Not Penny's boat.
He will always be a hobbit.
Not
to
Penny's
me.
boat. But
I look at Lost as being him trying to reclaim his identity as a man because he had played the Hobbit.
Yeah. Oh, and he's in this book too. He's in the book too. A couple scenes. There's some Lore Santeca in the book, which I appreciated. So I do this book. It does take like all of the chess pieces, the characters as chess pieces, if you will, and puts them all on the board and plays with them. And it says like how are they talking?
Though is if they had actually worked on a dialogue enough to where like I at least cared enough for the characters to not even ask the question, well, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Sorry about my language, by the way.
No, you could say whatever you want on the show.
Lore Santeca is the guy from the start of The Force Awakens who's like, to me, she's royalty.
Yeah.
That's the dude who was carrying the religion forward?
The Church of the Force guy.
Yeah.
And he's like this, like sort of disciple of the Jedi, if you will. And Luke's always asking him what to do, and he's like, "Dude, you're the Jedi, man." That's the kind of like their like relationship.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it's fun to see that world, or all of those worlds of Star Wars, sort of like living and interacting and intersecting. Lando and Lore Santeca talking about how do you find Luke, and like Lore's the one who tells him, who helps them. Like, here's how you go.
Sometimes I feel unqualified to be like, you know what, this is why this movie sucked, because of the the disposition between these characters. They don't really know how to talk to each other. They forget what dialogue is. They don't really put themselves in a grounded emotion. But then I think again in them, well, I'm a human being, so I know how human beings would be in a circumstance.
Yeah.
Once a week with a guy in a red suit.
Baymax, you don't believe in magic? Don't you stream once a week with a guy in a red suit that delivers toys to every child's house once every 365 days by a flying reindeer? True believer. Yeah.
Stardust.
Yeah, right?
Santa.
This book, though, I think if you're a big Star Wars fan, it does a good job, like I said, of pulling in and having these things talk to each other and not like exist in their little corners of the galaxy where they showed up in the screen in The Force Awakens. Like Lore Santeca, he shows up. We're supposed to be like, who is this guy? But it is JJ doing false intrigue. He's like, ooh, this guy, this is intriguing. Who is this? And there's nothing to it. There's nothing to it.
I got gypped there because I thought that he should have been, there should have been more for him, his involvement. Like that kind of character introduced at the beginning of a movie that's so based on like a philosophical thing. And he is that. I assumed he was the pillar, within that situation. Right. And it's just like, boop, yeah, never mind. I'll see you in the comics, in the books.
Yeah. But this book does like what Mando did, or Book of Boba Fett, like when it gave Din the N1 starfighter.
Okay.
And you're like, wow, I'm seeing like post Return of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace are having sex right now. I'm making a little new baby. You know what I mean? Like this kind of does that, where it it takes all of these little things on the plate and mixes it up and turns it into shit on a shingle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it still tastes good.
There's a lot of imagery in that last sentence and a half.
You're welcome. Shadow of the Sith is the book that I'm throwing out there that I think, yeah. So anyways, totally. It seems to be the first 2/3 or the first half of the book has just a ton of like, whoa, they're doing that. Cool.
If I can suggest a title for this hangout, it'll be Shadow of the Santa.
Shadow of the Santa.
There should be a sequel to Shadow of the Sith called Silhouette of the Jedi.
Ooh, that's actually pretty good.
Or Shadow of the Shit on the Shingle. That too. I mean, hey, my ideas are valid. My opinions matter. No, they don't.
I feel like shit on a shingle would be terrible for somebody's home because like the smell would just probably, I don't know. Now I'm going to think about this tonight, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah. My mom ended up in like foster care, right?
Oh no.
And then yeah, she's a crazy person from all of that stuff. But when I was a little kid, I'm like probably 4 years old, about 4.5 years old. Her real mom came over one time. And all I remember of this woman who was a monster is she comes in and my mom was cooking something for dinner. And she's like, what is this shit on a shingle?
Is that where you learned it?
That's where I first heard it. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like 4. I'm like, that's funny. I was like, is she cool? I look at her. I'm like laughing. I look right at my biological grandmother. Look at her. And she goes, is this the bastard? Yeah. Because I'm a bastard. I'm a Jon Snow. And,
Jason, the backstories to your jokes are very depressing.
Right? I mean, that's why I wouldn't work as a stand-up. I'm just too sad. No, but it was pretty funny because after that I was just like, who's this old bitch? You know, that's kind of in my head where I was at.
I know, but you know what? That story actually makes me. It brings a point into my head of why I feel like a lot of us relate so well because. You know, the 80s babies and the early 90s babies, we all had some crazy ass life like that.
Yeah. I mean, no, but it is
soft ass 2000s kids. No,
no, but I mean, it's the best. I mean, to me, it's very early on said, make your own family to some extent because biology doesn't mean as much as Star Wars fans seem to think.
Blood is in the vein, and that's about it.
Usually, yeah. I mean, hopefully it's more. Hopefully it's more.
Oh no!
You got to be careful.
I
take that back.
Like the stream,
lubrication is important.
No, always lube. Just don't underlube. Always over.
Unless you're in the case you're Ice Cube and you have a song called No Vaseline.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Jason, I just realized your microphone is enormous.
Thank you. It's the RE20. I don't really need this on it when
you have the same mic. Oh, interesting.
Always wear protection, Jason.
Do you have the cloud thing with it too?
No.
I bought that cloud thing because it helps a lot.
Yeah.
It really does. It brings up the gain without like causing much noise. Like I don't think you can hear anything in my background, can you? Or at least I don't think you can. Yeah, no, that's what it does. Yeah, that's what it does for me. So I'd recommend it.
All right. Yeah, actually, I have a Shure SM7B, and that thing runs quiet. Like I have to really.
That would also help. That could also be worked with in that cloud. Sorry, guys. Super technical. I'll continue this after stream.
No, I mean, I think to some extent, everybody in here likes podcasting and music and stuff like that. So I think everybody cares to at least a little baby bit, maybe.
Are we Star Trek fans too? I'm a Star Trek fan. I actually have a Star Trek. Oh, so can I say this on your stream? I don't want to promote something. Like,
no,
I got a Star Trek. Yeah, I got a Star Trek channel called A Few Trekkies. In fact, we'll be streaming tonight at 9. So if you
kept that quiet.
Not really. No, it's a number of people know about it. It's just hard for me to promote everything. Cool. It's a few Trekkies. That's the channel.
Few Trekkies.
Yeah,
I like
Trekkies.
it.
Yeah. Last night, I think we talked about it on your show, and then my Facebook like memories thing came up, and it was yesterday was I think my anniversary of pissing off William Shatner.
It's not hard to do.
Yeah. I was like at Galaxy's Edge eating, and there was a table full of people in Star Trek uniforms, and I took a picture and I put it on like Twitter and I was like, the balls of these guys or something like that. And then, or so, you know, I didn't say that, but it was like that. And then I get the William Shatner retweet and he's like, you know, standing up for the Trekkies. And then I had all of these nerds having a big fight, you know, in my timeline over it or whatever, my Twitter timeline of it. And then, I thought, but I think I'm going to delete this because I don't know if it came off how I meant for it to come off, but I said, I wish my grandparents were alive so they could see me get roasted by TJ Hooker.
Seriously. me and Hawks Holocron spoke last night for like a future episode of the podcast, and we were talking about somebody's fandom on Twitter. And I'm probably gonna get some flack for that when it comes out. I'm preparing for the roast.
Yeah.
Who was this person?
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to hide anything. It was Theory. You know, we were talking about some interaction he had on Twitter with somebody, and it just didn't make much sense to me.
Yeah. Star Wars Theory, the best and the brightest. Will Morgan says, doesn't matter if you're a Star Trek fan or Star Wars fan, you're probably not a JJ fan. Laugh out loud. I think that's what brings us together.
Honestly, I think the first 2 JJ Star Trek movies, I actually enjoy them.
I enjoy the first one. Don't enjoy the second one. And the same rings true of his Star Wars movies too. So
I don't like his Star Wars stuff. No. But there was stuff to like in it. But I didn't like that third one. I'm sorry, Idris. That didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I on like Force Awakens, I see as this like cultural homework assignment. And I think JJ did the assignment perfect for what they needed, what they intended to do at the moment.
That whole trilogy is if what throwing shit at a wall and seeing what stick looks like had a manifestation. Not to disrespect anybody, but it just
no, you're entitled to your opinion on that. You know, I always get this thing from like people like when I'm on like Santa's show or whatever, like Jason, he hears everything in a vacuum. He needs to hear other opinions. And it's like, oh man, you know, I just think what I think. So I just, when I do a show, I just say what I think. But
I will say though, like we can have opinions and dislike things and still enjoy them.
Sure.
You know, so I don't.
That is a very good point.
I don't
like Star Trek
that
too.
You don't enjoy. Like you probably obviously watched the movies and enjoyed the time that you did watching them.
Sure.
And you have the things you just dislike about them. And I think that that's the misstep with a lot of us fans that we think that if there's something we dislike, then we don't like it at all. But that's not true. There's like nuance to life, you know. It's like it's never going to be that case.
Episode 9 is bad sex, but it's still sex. That's what I say. You know.
I don't know. It's more like you had an argument. You both had a bit too much to drink, but we already planned to do this anyway because it's our anniversary. So fuck it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or they just broke up, but they're still living together. But guess what?
Yeah, it's kind of like that lukewarm, wet blanket feeling.
Yeah, just going through the motions in the oceans. Star Trek motion picture 4K coming soon. Is that good news? I don't know.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm getting emails from work.
oh, okay. No, go ahead. He's like the Zohan with that thing, says Darth Maximus. But Migs, you from England, says Mark.
No, I'm from Iceland.
From you're Icelandic? Are you a Bajork?
A Bjork?
A Bajork?
A Björk.
I'm Bjork. I remember being like, I don't know, like 11 and getting like the first Sugar Cubes record and being like, cool, now I'm into alternative music. And then that band broke up and then she became like this huge thing. And then I was like, oh, I liked Sugar Cubes for like 2 weeks. Then I grew up. Jonathan says JJ should be banned from touching any further franchises. What he did with Star Wars is sacrilege. I mean, they let him do it. So I don't know.
Can I just say, I love the way that Jason says things and then really quickly moves on to something else. But the last sentence he said had like a joke in it or a dig or something. And then I'm still thinking about it 5 minutes later.
Yeah. What can I say?
Oh, and by the way, I am from England.
No, You're a Bajork.
Okay.
You're a Bajork now. Rick Jones says Star Trek the motion picture is a
I
low
can no
key.
longer call her Bjork now. God.
in high school, there were, we had those. I like to troll those kids who couldn't take a joke, so I would continually say Bajork to be corrected, and only to say Bajork again, and they just. Oh, all right, Penny. Are you ending our show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter is also home now. I can hear her screaming in the background.
We should. They should just team up and finish the show for us with Meg. Meg could like. It'll be like the Force Awakens. Meg with the Next Generation.
It could be. She's visiting with her grandfather, who's like visiting from out of town. So I don't want to steal their time together.
He's all. This will begin to make things right. He's doing a little Santa with her right now.
Yes, yeah, it's precisely what he's doing.
All right. Well, we're gonna call it a show, guys. Me and Penny are gonna go have lunch.
All right, you guys.
Is that
have
the
fun.
plan? Yeah. We're having lunch party. What are we having? Taco Bell?
She's excited.
What do you want to have? All right, then you're gonna have a can of chili.
No, I don't like chili.
No, yeah, exactly. Right on. Don't leave that chili stuff alone in the can. That stuff. You'll never leave the bathroom. Oh, God.
Well, thank you, Meg and Quentin, for coming in and
Thank
hanging
you,
out.
Jason. Thank you, Quentin.
Yeah.
You guys are always welcome to hang out with me. And today, Max and Rob couldn't make it, and it was great that you guys ended up jumping on, and I wasn't alone.
Yeah,
I wasn't alone.
Sorry, I meant to come earlier, but like a few times before, but schedule and
That's what
everything.
she said.
That's what she said. I was about to say it to Megan. I was like, Meg's gonna say it, and Meg said it.
No,
But
don't do myself any favors.
We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is the plan. And so you guys can hang out in the chat if you want to. Make sure you guys like the video. But
get the fuck out of my house.
All right, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Have a good day, everyone.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.